Hello students, in this term we are going to start with your last chapter of history, that is chapter 13, the modern age in Europe, and that is industrial revolution. We have already done regarding the modern age in Europe. There were other chapters we did, and they were namely as your Renaissance, Reformation, and now we are moving on to the industrial revolution. So if you have understood Renaissance, Reformation, how Renaissance led to Reformation, so in the similar way you will understand how Reformation led to the industrial revolution. Since we have quite some time to do this chapter in detail, I'll not be rushing with this chapter. I'll do it in proper explanation and detail and reading of the chapter, so that you have a firm understanding of this chapter, as well as the other chapter also we will start revising once we are done with this chapter, because now we are only left with the revision. So for the third term we will finish this chapter, and then we'll get down to the revision of all the other chapters that we've done in in first term, second term, and then finally the third term chapter as well. So let's begin with the introduction, reading and explanation of this chapter, and that is, let's begin. The modern age in Europe, chapter C, industrial revolution. Here it is said, the term industrial revolution denotes all those changes that took place in the field of industry during the second half of the 18th century and the first half of the 19th century. That means the later year of 18th century and the early years of the 19th century. All the changes that took place during this time in the industrial segment, that are termed as the industrial revolution. Until this period, goods were manufactured at home with hand, because so far there were not much of, you can say, innovations and no inventions of very intricate machineries and intricate machinery parts and things. They were not there. Most of the work was done with hand skills and with the tools which could be used easily by the hands. So most of the work was done with the hands and with the homemade or handmade instruments. However, during the period of the Industrial Revolution, it was the employer made his workers to use machines in the factory. So once a factory was set up, there were a lot of people working over there, but then gradually people made progress. And with this progress, we can say it so happened they got one machinery, and this one machinery could do the work of maybe say 2 or 5 or 10 or many workers together. And that is why people thought that it is very important that for more profits, more money, and for expansion of their work and factories, they require more of these machineries. And gradually machines became like taking over the work positions in the factories. Workers were less, machineries were coming in, taking their places. Many people did lose their job, but now people understood that these industrial revolution, they are going to be a game changer, because these machineries are going to make products which are perfect in a way, because every time whatever they are supposed to do the work, they are going to do the same quality and same kind of a work. Humans might make differences in their work, in their abilities, everything, but machine will not do that. And that is why they realize the importance and benefit of machineries. So however, during this period, the Industrial Revolution, the employers made his workers to use machines in his factory. The employees were paid wages for their labor, how they are dealing with the machines, how they are working with the machines. For that they were still paid. The period marked a change from handwork to machine work, and from domestic system to factory system of production. So earlier it was so, like if I have a particular business of a particular product, I would have 10 different people in a village, and I'll give them the work to do that particular thing in their home, and at their home, at their ease, they will be working on that product. Then they will send it to me, and I would be the one selling them out, and I would be giving them the money for their hard work as their wages. So they would be working from the home and at their own time, at their own ease, maybe daytime, nighttime, whatever time they feel like. But this industrial revolution made it a change that workers had to come to their employer. If I have a business, I will ask those 10 people from different parts of the villages to come to a particular place which I have made, and that might be the factory. and there I would ask them to come over there and make all the products whatever I require them. Even if they are willing or they are not willing, they are going to work for the 8 hours, 10 hours, or whatever time schedule I have done, maybe from morning 6 o'clock to evening 6 o'clock, morning 8 o'clock to evening 8 o'clock, or maybe anything, because at that time there were no defined or set working hours. So you cannot say it was a 9 to 5 job or something like that, 8 hours of work. So people could make them work as long as they want, but it was so that people have to work at a particular given slot of time. Whatever time is there, it is for every particular worker. They are supposed to be there in that factory, in that place, for that particular time period. They cannot just come at their own ease, work, and maybe sitting at night, maybe morning. If they are supposed to do that, they work, it was considered overtime. That is a later phase terms, but here in the initial term it was that come during the daytime from this to this particular time slot and do the work. So that is how this particular business and industrialization, it all changed in the way how it was done earlier, conducted at home and everything. Now it became more professional in a way, you can say. The period marked a change from handwork to machine work. That was the biggest change during this time. So in short, the Industrial Revolution is the name given to a series of changes that brought about a transition. Transition means shifting from one to another, from production by hand to production by machine. So in just simple terms, if it is asked to you what was Industrial Revolution, which took place in the later years of 18th century, end of 18th century and beginning of 19th century, you will simply write the answer. It was the transition of production from man-made or handmade to the machine-made goods. From small scale production to large scale production. So far there were 10 families working over there, and if I give you a particular project to do on your own, and you are supposed to do a particular work to be written, you will write that particular work whenever you feel like during this lockdown, and you might take a week to do that. But at the same work, if I give you an exam and I'll give you 3 hours or 2 hours, you will be able to do that. If you see, if I give you a question paper of history and I say, see, you have to solve this question paper and this is your practice, and you have all your time, you can do as soon as you finish, let me know. You might ask, sir, aaj hi dena hai? So I will say, no, you have all the time, you can do it at your ease. So at that time you will take a long period of time. You might look into the books, you might do today, tomorrow, maybe some of the children might give it after a week, some of them might give on the second day, third day, maybe some of the intelligent ones or the very sincere ones might give it by the evening, by the night time, by 3-4 hours or so. But it will keep on varying from person to person, and this might drag the work. But during the exams, if I give you the same paper and I say you have to give it, if you know, you will keep writing for the 2 hours. If you don't know, you might write for half an hour, for 1 hour or so, and then you say, okay, now I cannot do anymore, let's submit this. Because you know you have a time slot, you have to finish within that time, your efficiency will increase. And that is why when your efficiency increase, you give a better produce of the work. Similar thing happened over here also. When they had time slot, one day is given to us to come and do the work, they are not going to do any household chores. So at that time, no particular other personal works, anything. For those 6 hours, 10 hours, whatever hours they are sitting over there, they are just supposed to keep working in the factory for that particular thing. And moreover, industrialization, that means machineries made more number of products in comparison to the work done by the hand, because here one single person had to make a complete commodity, but machineries were set and designated for a particular specialized task in that particular product or making of that product. So a product had to go through different machineries, and because of that, at one particular time period or within one day, a similar kind of numerous commodities could be made. So that is why the production from small scale went to a large scale. So these are the two different transitions that took place in the Industrial Revolution. First of all, from handmade to machine made, the good quality was now good and better and perfect. Second thing, from small scale to a large scale production. That means so far 10 people making 10 products. Now 10 people with the help of the machinery might be making 100 products. So that was the difference, and it got more sales, more numbers, and the products as well as sales and revenue and everything was increasing. So that is why people understood the importance of industrialization in their business. Industrial revolution was unlike any other revolution. It was not sudden, not violent. There was no bloodshed. Now we have done earlier Renaissance, a modern thought process coming into society, but that was not liked by many rulers, by the church, by various things, and a lot of opposition was done there. Same thing happened with Reformation. So they had a lot of violence, lot of bloodshed, lot of opposition, and everything going chaotic. But when we talk about the Industrial Revolution, we can say there was nothing chaotic over here, because it was not that all of a sudden today we are sitting with workers and tomorrow we are sitting with the machineries. It was not that sudden. It was gradually one person got one machinery, then the others started doing the other things and they got their machinery, and similarly each and every particular business understood the importance of machinery. They got more machineries and different specialized machineries for specialized steps of the production, and that is how the entire thing gradually, very slowly started shifting from the handmade to the mechanized world. That is why, because of this gradual shifting and change, there was no particular bloodshed, no particular opposition. It was nothing to do with any particular church or any authority, king, queen, nothing. It was totally related to business and production, and the better you do, the better you are a competition. So it always was a competition, as it was earlier also when there were no machines. So that is why competition remained there. If somebody was using machines to have more production, the competitor will also get the same machine and get more or equivalent or a little more of the produce. So that is how people started competing with each other, but that competition was not related to any bloodshed or any fighting or any oppositions, nothing as such. That is why among all the, you can say, modern Europe age, we can say Renaissance, Reformation, all of them were there, but this Industrial Revolution was the only revolution which was revolutionizing the world for them, but it was not having any bloodshed or any chaos in the society. Next, we move on to the causes of the Industrial Revolution. Now here we'll read it about and then we'll do the explanation simultaneously. The Industrial Revolution began in England and spread to many other countries. So that is, as we are talking about Europe, the main important place we talk about is England. It started from England and then started drifting and shifting and spreading to different other countries of Europe as well. Some of the important causes for the origin of the Industrial Revolution in England are given below. So here now we'll do what were the important causes which made the people in England shift from handmade to the mechanized, or you can say industrial revolution. First is congenial atmosphere. Now you might say, what is this congenial atmosphere? So it is, after, you can say, Renaissance happened, then there was Reformation, and Englishmen began to enjoy the freedom of thought and expression, because Renaissance, Reformation, they gave the person this perspective that we need to think out of the box. We need to think beyond what is told to us to just keep thinking that. We need to break those walls and we need to understand more of this society, of this world, of literature, art. Everything has to be understood in different spectrums, in different ways, so that we have a better understanding of the things, the way we want to understand it and the way we want to discover more or observe more whether what we are told is correct or not. So this particular mindset was given to the Englishmen for thought, expression, everything. They were free. There was a scope for experimentation. They were told to believe a thing only once they experiment it, observe it, get a conclusion, and if it proves the point, then they need to believe that particular thing. So this experimentation and try and fail error method was used. So that is how they kept on doing it. and the government did not interfere in their daily life. As earlier the church was interfering during the Renaissance Reformation movement, now they had gradually accepted the change, and even the government authorities, the church or any authority, they were not interfering in all these experimentation or the shifting of the towards the, you can say, different mindset. It was in this atmosphere that the Englishmen thought of new methods of production. When everything can be taken or looked upon from a different perspective, why not production and making of the things? So Englishmen started thinking how machines and different things could be made which could work as laborers but more efficiently, quicker, and in a more perfect manner. So that is how they started experimenting, trying, getting innovative ways of making things to do the work. So that is how they got into this making of the basic machineries. Like obviously it is one of the important social habit of human being that we start making tools to help us out. That is, since from the stone age we have made stone tools, so making tools itself is like making some machinery to help us out or ease out our business. So that is why people started getting into different ways of taking things from surroundings or making out of wood or metal or things, so that they could make things that could help them out in making the production even better and faster. So that is why they made machines. Large number of inventions made by the British scientists brought about a revolution in industry in England. So it was not that one person was thinking to make changes, it was different people from different backgrounds, scientists and the businessmen and different common people, educated ones, everyone was trying to think different ways in different it is not only regarding the factory only, it was they were all thinking of different ways of making comfortable things for their life. If I say there are innovations being made every day, even today, it is not that everyone is making innovation in regards to cars or machines or science or things. There are different innovations and different discoveries, different things being done in different walks of life, different spectrums. So the same thing was happening over there in the society at that time in Europe, and that is why scientists and everyone was making different things to revolutionize the society, and that is how there were different innovative inventions that came into existence. Invention of machinery and its use in manufacturing was the starting point of industrial revolution, because at that time there were very basic machineries. There were more to come, more mechanical, more intricate, more complex machineries, and that was just the beginning, the starting point, because once person got a particular framework that this can be done this ways, then they started involving more parts to the machinery, more things to the machinery. If a machine or a self-made thing can work like this, why not make it do this also, and the further step also, and add more things to it so that more work can be done through it. So that is how things became even more complex and intricate, and this was only for the better of the society. We see John Key, a weaver of Lancashire, invented the flying shuttle. This is the name of the invention that he made, the flying shuttle, which increased the speed of weaving. Weaving means like weaving of the cloth or the carpet or things, any particular garment. So weaving was the one for which he made flying shuttle, and this was an invention which improved the speed of weaving. It also made the weaving of broad cloth by one man possible. Earlier, single man could weave a small width of a cloth, but now because of this particular flying shuttle, this machine, the length or the breadth of the cloth could even be broader, and that was the thing which was very, very important for the production of the weavers, for the production in terms of weavers we are talking about. A Lancashire weaver named James Hargreaves invented a machine called the spinning jenny. It could spin 8 threads at a time instead of one thread of the old-fashioned spinning wheel. So a spinning wheel at the olden time could only spin one thread, but now because of this, you can say, spinning jenny, this particular machine was able to you could be used for spinning the thread, and it could spin 8 different threads at the same time. So that was also making it stronger, and that is quicker work. So we can say yarn spun on the jenny was not very strong. Then Richard Arkwright Arkwright invented the water frame. It produced harder and stronger yarn than that of the spinning jenny. So once they came about the weakness of spinning jenny's thread, they came to know that it was not that strong. So the other person came with another invention, and that was the water frame. And this was not only spinning 8 threads and spinning them faster, but it was even spinning the threads which were very strong, and that is harder and strong, and yarn that but it was run by a water power. It was not run by electric power, mechanical power. It was run by the help of the water power, hydropower you can say. So it ushered in the factory system, and that is how gradually we can say, even just in the one field of weaving we are talking, three different machines we have talked about, like flying shuttle, the spinning jenny, and then the water frame. All these things came and started making weaving even improvised by each and every machine coming into existence. So this was just one particular cause for the industrial revolution, that is the congenial atmosphere which made people believe that they can come up with new inventions, innovations to make their work easier. And that is how there were various other numerous causes that we are going to do in the coming up session. Today we'll just do this much so that you have proper complete understanding of this. Please, after going through this particular video, you do go through the chapter in your book, read it. As per my book edition, it is page 112 and 113. Please do read these 2 pages so that you know or you understand what we have done today and what we are going to do in the next coming up session. So with this, we come to the end of the session. Have a great day.